Hello. The story of the book that you see here, it's an edited volume, Israeli Democracy at the Crossroads, begins in 2000. I arrived in South Africa to deliver lectures all over the country about Israel, about medical ethics, about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a variety of concerns. When I was in Durban, I met people from the local Jewish community, including the librarian um, who came to me and asked for my advice. He told me that he, as a librarian, he is in charge of acquisitions and also of the collection of books on Israel, Zionism, the Jewish people, and so on. And he tried to enrich the collection on Israel by new books on Israeli democracy, Israeli society, Israeli politics. And whatever he could lay his hands on, as far as he knew, when he looked at the books, he found that the vast majority of them were either anti-Zionist, pro-Zionist, anti-Israeli, not something that he would like that people of the community and outside of the community will only read. I mean, okay, it's from plurality of ideas, but not only of just one idea, which is anti-Israel. And the collection is supposed to be about Israel, not about anti-Zionism or anti-Israel. I said, okay, when I return to Israel, I'll check and I'll send you a list of books that are within the mainstream, that represent the best of Israeli society. Critical, but still the mainstream, not extreme views about Israel. And when I returned to Israel, I looked at the most recent books that were published about Israel, and I saw that this librarian was right. The vast majority on Israel was hostile to Israel. And at that point, I decided that I'm going to publish a book that would represent the mainstream, that would represent the best voices in Israeli academia about different topics, different subjects. And I approached the best people, the people that whom I thought are the best representative of Israeli society, Israeli politics, Israeli democracy, to present certain views on the main topics, main subjects that concern Israel. So after my opening words, the first chapter is about the economy, written by a very distinguished economist in Israel, Ben-Zion Zilberfeld, who outlined how Israeli economy shifted from socialist economy to free market economy. The second chapter was by Dan Caspi, an eminent scholar in the field of media and communication, who spoke about media and politics and social responsibility of the media when they write about politics. And then there are a few chapters about rights and schisms. David Kretschmer, who is a law professor from the Hebrew University, he wrote about human rights. Carmel Shalev wrote about health rights. Francis Adai wrote about women's rights. Yossi Yona wrote about Israel as a multicultural democracy, challenges and obstacles. Tamar Horowitz of Ben-Gurion University, She wrote about the integration of immigrants from the former Soviet Union to Israel. Aviezer Ravitsky and Asa Kasher, two Israel Prize laureates, wrote about religion and state, the problem that Judaism, Halakha present before Israeli democracy, and whether they can be aligned, whether democracy and religion can be reconciled. And then two scholars, one from Haifa, one from Bar Ilan, Majid al-Hajj and Hillel Frisch, wrote about the Israeli Palestinians. And then Ariel Merari wrote a chapter about Israel facing terrorism. Ariel was my teacher at Tel Aviv University, a psychologist who specialized in understanding terrorism. And finally, the eminent law scholar from the Hebrew University, Claude Klein, wrote a chapter, Zionism Revisited. And I concluded by writing a small conclusion on Israeli democracy at the Crossroads. After I published this book, I wrote to the librarian and I said to him, here's, I hope, what you are looking for. Thank you.